Getting on the property ladder is expensive, but it doesn't have to be. There are abandoned places around the world where you can buy a whole town or a village for less than the price of an average home in most countries. Okay, you would be lonely, but you could make yourself the mayor. You wouldn't have to worry about neighbours and you could have parties as loud as you wanted. But even though some of these ghost towns are ridiculously cheap, they do come with some rather odd conditions. Ranging from an abandoned village in Spain that's currently been offered for free, to a ghost town in Colorado that used to have a population of 2,000 that now no one is willing to buy because of its tragic past. So let's jump right in and take a look. Eibarsa is a little place nestled deep in the woods of northern Spain overlooking the Minho River. It features 12th–15th century abandoned homes, and living here would be so tranquil. Just you and your thoughts, surrounded by nature and the beauty of the lush woodlands. And you can own this little village for free. That's right, it's been offered totally free of charge. Almost. There is a condition. The government will only give this away to someone that can present them with an adequate plan of restoration and proof of the funds that would be needed to restore this place to its former glory. It must be a good deal because so far they've received over 1,000 applicants, but they've turned every single one down. And while I can't find the reasons why they turned them down or how much it would cost for renovations, I'm guessing they would like them restored to keep within certain guidelines of historical buildings. But they have said as soon as they see a proposal they like, one that's feasible, they're ready to sign over the 12 homes and the land they sit on free of charge. Lucin, Utah. This 40-acre place is an old 1800s railway stop that's been abandoned since 1936, but trains still pass by today. There's not really much left standing here. It has slowly succumbed to the elements. There's one dusty home, a phone booth, and an oasis of piped mountain water, a few grain cellars, and tumbleweed. And all of this could be yours for just $16,000. But so far no one has shown even any slight interest in buying it. I know it's not much to look at and most of it is on the verge of falling down, but still, it's 40 acres. I guess it is because it's so isolated and barren. You would be very lonely, and it would be costly to constantly ship supplies here, and hard to grow your own produce. But apart from that, $16,000 for your own ghost town seems like a bargain. Now it sits on the western edge of the Great Salt Lake Desert, and it's littered with rubble and old remnants of the area's mining past. People used to come here and look for gold and other precious stones, such as topaz and red beryl. So you have the added bonus that if you did decide to move here, you could maybe get very lucky spending your days hunting for gold, and possibly discovering a big golden nugget and striking it rich. A lot of people would pay a lot of money to settle down in a picturesque little town in the Alps, but the Italian government are willing to give you that opportunity for free. In fact, they'll even give you $10,000 for doing so. Yep, they'll pay you to move here. That town is called Locarno, and it's located in Italy's mountainous Piedmont region. It's quite a small place with a mixture of modern and medieval architecture, and the views here are incredible. Imagine waking up to this every morning. Life here would be almost stress-free away from the rat race. Now it seems like too good of a deal to be actually paid to move here, but there is a reason for that. The town's population has been dwindling for decades. Most of the residents left to look for work in big cities, and now it's a ghost town. So paying people to move here is part of the government's repopulation plan. But there is a condition. If you decide to take them up on the offer, you have to agree to stay here for life. You're allowed to leave of course for holidays etc, but this is where you have to live for the majority of the time, which doesn't seem so bad. It's a beautiful place where you'd have fresh air and outdoor activities such as ice skating, trekking, fishing and rock climbing on your doorstep. If you had no commitments, would you move here? Let me know in the comments below. There's a ghost town in Australia that's been disconnected from the power grid. Its location has been removed from maps and the people who once lived there were forced to flee, leaving everything behind. This town is called Wittenoom. It's an eerie place with abandoned cars and old buildings gathering dust. And no one wants to buy it. Even the government have given up on it. And that's because the air is so toxic, one breath could kill you. In fact, it's one of the most toxic places in the world, and Wittenoom has so far been linked to over 2,000 deaths. And that's because it was once an old asbestos mine in the 60s, and at one point there were thousands of tons of asbestos residue left in the area when the mine closed. And medical professionals say breathing in just a single fibre of asbestos could prove fatal. And it's virtually impossible to clean the area to a level where it would be considered even remotely safe for human habitation. Its estimated cost to even try would be over $1 billion, so the government just decided to basically try forget about the place and try stop people from visiting. So yeah, no one wants to buy this for any price, but I'm pretty sure you could get it super cheap if you were prepared to live here wearing a mask for the rest of your life. There's a 5.5 acre town in France nestled deep in the woods that used to have a population of 200. And it features 19th century buildings such as an old clergy house, an abbey, a museum, a fountain, houses, old art studios, barns and shops. And they all now lie totally abandoned. This once flourishing town called Bourdon was known for its production of stoves and ovens, but it was abandoned after its last forging factory closed down in 1959, leaving no work for the locals, so they moved on. And it's been empty and left to rot ever since, but now it's on the market and available for purchase. But what would you expect to pay for a place like this? Your very own 19th century ghost town, which probably does come complete with a few ghosts. Well, at first guess I thought roughly around a few million. But I was way off the mark. This French ghost town could be yours for $150,000. That's incredibly cheap. That wouldn't even buy an average size home in some places. Here, you get a whole town. But there's a reason it's priced so cheap and a reason why so far no one has stumped up the cash. Even though they are constantly dropping the price, they still can't get interest. And that's because these are all 19th century buildings, and they're in serious disrepair. The estimated cost of renovating this place is over $20 million. So yeah, that is a hell of a lot to pay, but could you just imagine living here on your own? You could make as much noise as you want, and even walk down the streets naked if you so wish.